Today I'm going to go over how to use the Fetchy add-on for ExpressionEngine. I've got two examples, one with Airtable and another with a video API, and then I'm going to go through a little bit on how to do error handling. So in these examples, I'm not going to kind of get into all of the errors, just really focus on trying to get data from another service like Airtable into an ExpressionEngine template. So to do that, I've created a template already called Fetchy Demo, and I've got it here on the left. I've also gone ahead and made an Airtable, and the next step to be able to get data out of Airtable, and like a lot of APIs, is to create a token or some kind of API key. Airtable, if you go to personal access tokens, you can create a new token. I'm going to call this my test token. They call this a bear token, so this is going to have permissions associated with it. So I'm just going to put a bunch of read ones here. We're just reading. And then I want to put the Airtable I just made and hit create. Now this created a token. This is basically like your login. So you do need to keep it safe. So I'm going to copy this. And for the moment, I'm just going to paste it there because this will, if this disappears, we can't access it again. So now I need to be able to get the data from Airtable. So to do that, we need to add this key as a header. So I'm going to start with headers. And this header will be authorization and bearer. And then we're going to copy this token in. The next step is to have the URL that we want to ping. We need to tell it that we want to hit the Airtable API. So to do that, we go to the documentation for Airtable. We have get, and then the first part will be our base. So I'm going to drop that in. And then it says we need the base ID and the table ID or name. In another doc, it's a little hard to find, but this is where that is. The base ID and the table ID are in the URL for table. So I'm going to go and copy this segment and this segment. And this will be kind of a direct link to this data. Now that we've got kind of a request set up, we need to do something with the data. But the next question is, how do we know what data it's going to return back? And for that, there's two ways you can do this. One is to use an app called Postman, which is a kind of an API inspector. So I can drop a header like that in, and then I can go to auth, and I can drop the token in this way and hit send. And what this will do is respond back on the bottom section here with JSON. This will have the records and then each row. So there's row 1, there's row 2, and there's row 3. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is there's a built-in debugger. So if I do debug true and hit save, I go over to my template and hit refresh. This will show me a specific view that has the response data that the server got. So the difference between Postman and what this debug tool is that Postman sent from my laptop directly to Airtable, and maybe that worked, maybe that didn't work. This is going to be from the server directly to Airtable, so you should definitely check it out this way as well. On this first section, if I expand all, we see the same thing, records, and then on ID, created time, the fields, and we see these 3 rows here. Now there's some other debug info here. If you need help debugging something, you can see the raw response body. You can see what the tags that will be available and what their values will be. But for now, we're going to stick with this record section. So to get this in a template, I'm going to start with my data loop. So this is any return data. This is required for any sort of Fetchy request. And then from there, I could just do records. Records, and close the loop, records. And now I'm in the record. So this will loop over each row. So for example, if I wanted to do ID, this would print in my template the 3 IDs right here. Not very useful, so let's not do that. We want to go to fields and loop the fields. And fields are going to be rows in this case. And we want, let's just say name. And keep in mind this is case sensitive, so you see the name there. And then I'm going to put just a comma and save it and remove the debug and see if we've got data. Test data 1, test data 2, test data 3. Now, just to prove it, I can go here. I can change this to changed. Hit enter. I'll wait for Airtable to save that. And then I can go back to my template and just hit refresh. And there we go. Now we've got changes applied. Now, if you wanted to speed this up, you notice there's a little bit of a delay there. I can do cache is true, and this will save it. Default, I think, is an hour. I refresh once, and now it's really fast when I refresh.